Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Make sure you go ahead and hit this like button. Subscribe to the channel if you already not, man. Go ahead and comment down below. Let me know where y'all from, who you a fan of. Let's get right into it. So I just got some more updates on that Takeoff situation. And basically, it was a situation about how Offset reacted to that. He's feeling very, very sad right now. He's feeling very emotional. And basically, the thing that's on his mind, Offset, is that, with hearing the news about Takeoff, is the fact that he really, really regrets actually leaving the group and going picking sides with Cardi B. So basically, if you didn't know already, Migos split up a few months ago, earlier this year, and it was Takeoff and Quavo on one side, and it was Offset on the other side. Just basically the same situation it was back when Offset was locked up, and it was just him, and it was Quavo and Takeoff doing a lot of work to get them that Drake co-sign on the Versace song. So that was basically what jump-started their careers, other than the hard work that they were putting in the years before. But now that the situation with Takeoff happened in Houston at that bowling alley, and basically that quote unquote dice game allegedly that was happening, and all that sorts, where some guys had a back and forth argument between Quavo, where Quavo said that he's not going to be arguing with nobody, and he was just about to leave, and it looked like somebody had swung on another person. And if you didn't know, Academics or TMZ or one of them, TMZ got that footage. And so when I seen that footage now, what it looked like was that it was a petty little argument, and basically it wasn't no dice game that was actually happening. When these arguments was actively happening, there was no dice game. This dice game must have happened somewhere moments before. But basically they're in front of a bowling alley on the second floor in downtown Houston, and Quavo is seen on the camera having a back and forth with some dude, and then he says he's not going to argue with him, and he walks off. They said something about basketball or something, or call it like an out. It was they were basically, it might have been a continued argument from whatever this dice game may have actually been. It might not have actually been a dice game. It may have been some sort of something, man. But so now Quavo starts walking away, and the camera kind of dips low, and you see the legs and the shiny shoes that Quavo has. And then there's some other guy in star jeans. And basically what happens is that it looks like one of the people swung. Now, the dude that Quavo was arguing with, some are saying that in their perspective that it looks like he might have been rolling up. And so essentially, like, Quavo kind of walks away from the situation, but then at some point he may have turned around, or somebody may have got physically turned him around or pushed him or something, and it looks like someone may have swung on another person. And then that's when somebody from the security side, thinking that they need to get into the defensive side, pop something out, and then that's when the whole thing rings out and everybody hears what's going on and starts dispersing, and the whole crowd kind of flees and takes off running back inside, back to the parking lot, down the stairs, whatever it was. And the guys that were involved, they all ran too. And what you just see is basically Takeoff just right there. And so it's just like a group of girls around. There was other people who also got affected by this. It wasn't just Takeoff, but a couple other people, but they'll be all right. And so now, man, it's very tragic, and condolences to Takeoff, his whole family, his old friends, everybody that's affected by this situation, man. We're sad to see it happen like this, and have a hearing, about it. And so now that situation was what it is. And so what they're saying is that basically, it was something petty that kind of went out overboard. But when you look at what Takeoff was doing, he was actually just standing there. He was minding his own business. He wasn't getting involved in the argument at all. You know how he is, his demeanor and the way that he moves is that he's not going to be doing none of that. He's like more of an OG, the way he moves. He kind of moves in silence, or he just only needs to say what he needs to say, right? And so now he's just kind of there. And when this whole thing happens, when Quavo was about to walk off, everybody was about to walk off. But then when somebody swung on somebody else, then that's when they seen the dude up something. And it was a guy in a whole Chucky suit or whatever that was next to some other guy in star jeans, and it was Quavo in the shiny shoes and stuff. And then Takeoff in his, he had a horizontal striped shirt that you seen in that Instagram story you posted, and you could go watch that 2 videos ago that I posted, and binge watch all the videos to kind of see everything, how all this played out. But so basically with this whole situation, man, is very, very sad situation and it's tragic. And you know that the Migos are from Atlanta, so Atlanta's mourning, and a lot of people feel for Houston, man. And you know it's a bad look on Houston, and so basically they just need to cancel any kind of dice game type of activities. That's like Black Air Force type activities. They have to cancel all that for the rest of the whole, you know, this next 10 years. Like no more dice games, right? And but this was like a party that they were going to, and so that's the thing is that they didn't just come there to do a dice game or something. Maybe they were just walking by that, and Quavo just happened to bump into somebody that already had issues with him. And you know, for them being from Atlanta and stuff like that, they're kind of out of town. They had their people, they had their security with them, but that was all a situation where it was a whole sloppy mess. It was crazy. And so now, man, this whole situation got Offset basically regretting that he left Migos. And so he's feeling a type of way, like he wishes that he didn't have to leave Migos, because if he didn't leave, maybe they would have been on tour somewhere. Maybe they would have been able to be doing a show somewhere, doing something where they wouldn't end up in the situation that they ended up in. And so whatever happened from that day that Migos split up, it basically was the path that was very bad, and it's going to lead to this. And so, but you might not think of it that way, but that's just one way to look at it, man. And so the fact that Offset is affected by this too, he's sad, and he's like, you know, he grew up, you know, they all grew up with each other. They spent a lot of years. They made bread together. They made records. They went to overseas, you know, their first trips and stuff like that. A lot of firsts. And for Takeoff to be 28, and that's a whole crazy thing, because, you know, a lot of people know that with these rappers, it's very dangerous, but they've been all like 30-year-olds or young and old. It don't matter what age. And so it could have been anybody really in that whole situation. There was a lot of things you heard in that video where you could hear all the sounds and stuff. And now basically this is still an ongoing situation. So it's a bad look, man. It's a bad situation for this to happen in downtown like that at this private party. Because if this happened at the private party, then they got to know who it was that came in and inside, and everybody that came in the door and came out the door. Because there's security there. They got people who have to check in. You can't just walk up into anything. If you know anything about private parties, you have to show an invitation at the door. No one can just come up and walk up. Even if you're a celebrity, I mean, you would have to be like A-list in order for them to just let you be getting in through the door if you're not on the invite of the 50 people who was allowed to come in. And so it's a very weird situation and stuff. And a lot of people said they seen Takeoff get hit, but everybody fled the scene and ran off. Like a lot of people, when everything happened, they took off running, went around the corner into the parking garage, and they got in their cars, or they ran down the street to where their cars were parked on the side of the road. And, you know, either they didn't even like care that there was still 30 minutes to an hour left on their parking meter. They just ended up leaving right away because the whole situation already went out of hand. It got blown out of proportion.